You're listening to Struggle and Strength, Moms Balancing It All with Nikki. Real talk, real life, real solutions for busy moms building big dreams. From motherhood to entrepreneurship and everything in between. This is your space for truth, transformation, and the reminder that you're never alone in the chaos. Whether you're chasing kids, chasing goals, or just trying to make it through the day, I've got you. So let's dive in. Hey friends, and welcome back to another episode of Struggle and Strength, Moms Balancing It All with Nikki. Let's be honest, sometimes family vacations feel less like a vacation and more like a marathon that you didn't even train for. And after the last 4 weeks of traveling all over the United States, I'm here to say that I am tired. Like, I slept all day yesterday, tired, and I don't even take naps. But here's the thing, every single stop that we made was so worth it. Let me just talk to you about our last 4 weeks of total chaos, total bliss, and total exhaustion. We started in California for my daughter's national diving competition. Proud mama right here. And it was amazing. I got to reconnect with one of my best friends who was in my wedding. Her daughter was my flower girl. We stayed at her house. We had so many laughs, like old buddies coming together. Like we've never missed a beat. And it was intense, let me tell you, because every single day I wasn't expecting it. My daughter had diving like 2, 3 times every day, and it was an all day event. So we're having to drive there, drive back, like quickly hurry, very little time in the middle of it. And it was exhausting. I was not expecting that at all. I thought, okay, we're going to go for a couple events. I love diving so much because it's quick and easy. It's not drawn out like the gymnastics that she used to do. And it's so fun to watch. But they had so many kids there competing, and they combined the events, and what usually takes like less than an hour took like 3 hours, and it was exhausting. I mean, even though the California weather was amazing compared to Texas summer heat, we were outside, which we weren't used to, which is totally fine. That's awesome. But it's like I was also trying to work and get my client stuff done, and I could barely find a plug, let alone you want to sit in the stands because so many other people are trying to race there to see their kids. So it's like once you find a spot, you need to stay in that spot. So it's not like you can leave. And then of course, like we brought our snacks because we didn't know, is there going to be food or not food? I mean, that in itself was exhausting. The best part about it though, which I talked about last week, was that I got to see my client too on top of that, and that just made the connection so much better, this being in person. So not only did I see my best friend, I saw my client, and then I also got to see my daughter compete, which was so awesome. But then we came home and it was like, surprise. So my dad was turning 80 this year, and my brothers and I decided that we were going to go down to the Ozarks in Missouri and rent a lake house like we did last year. That was his wish last year, and celebrate his 80th birthday. And so we got back from California and gave him this big old surprise, like, surprise, we're leaving in 3 days. Pack your bags, let's go. And so we drove to Missouri, the Ozarks, and it was awesome. Let me tell you, we got to see my family, my brothers and their family. My dad had an amazing time, but it was another just chaotic moment. We left really late on a Friday night, and it was dropping off the dog. Then we've got to pick up the rental car. We got to pick up my parents, pack the car, load up all of our junk, and then drive like 6 to 7 hours. Let me tell you, it was so much fun. Not. Okay. And then, we get to this hotel. We're completely exhausted, and there was nothing available, let me tell you. But this hotel, let me just tell you, I was freaked out thinking there was going to be like cockroaches all over the place. It was not exactly the most decent hotel. However, it did give us a free bed bug clean bed. There were some flies in the bathroom, but I'm okay with that. It was just a place to rest our heads. And then the next day, we got up and we got to go out on the boat. We rented a boat. We were out on the lake. It was so nice. But then it's like, the parent part of the vacation is planning all this stuff, getting everything right. And then, of course, you have to like keep the kids occupied. So we woke up thinking we're going to go straight to the boat. And then they call and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. The boat has issues and you won't be able to go out." And it's like, oh, it just ruined our whole plans for the day. So then it was like defeat, like, oh no, what are we going to do? And so we thought, okay, let's go to breakfast and let's think about what we're going to do. And while we are leaving to go to breakfast, packing up the car, we get a call saying, "We've got a boat." So it's like, yay. Okay, we're going to go to breakfast anyways, and then we'll go to the boat. So that was awesome. We actually got to go out on the boat. Plans were not ruined that day. Then it was time for us to check into the rental house, and guess what? Oh yes, it wasn't clean, and we had to wait like another hour, hour and a half for it to get clean. So it's like one thing after another. Of course, like kids don't have to deal with all of this stress, right? Like they're just like, "Oh, I'm hungry. I've got to go to the bathroom and I want to play." They're on their tablets or they're playing video games or they're playing card games or they're, having the best time of their lives out on the boat. And they don't have to worry about driving the boat, packing all the snacks, making sure everything's packed in the car. Did we leave anything at the hotel? Like all the chaos that the parents are having to worry about. And so we ourselves are just totally exhausted. So, we get back, we go into the house, finally we get to relax. And it's like, please break open the wine and the gin because I need to de-stress and calm down. And so it's like we get into the house and the kids start partying, they're playing, they see their cousins, they're having a grand old time. And it was magical. It's like our kids haven't really seen each other very often. My kids, I think I've told you are 10, 8, and 7, about to be 9. I can't believe that. And oh my gosh, I forgot to tell the best story of California. I'll get back to that here in a minute. But the kids are about the same age for one of my brothers. And then my other brother has a couple, a couple older kids. But it's like they're all peas in a pod. They play so well together. Give them a pool table, a foosball table, and it's like the time of their lives. And so after the Ozarks, we had literally like a couple days, and then we flew out to Rochester, New York, because I had my 25th high school reunion. I think I mentioned that last week, and it was all about connecting. I also got to see two of my clients out there, and that was so awesome. I got to see my old house that I spent like 2 years in. And then we literally got back, spent one day at home. We didn't even pick up the dog from the kennel because it was like, oh my gosh, there's no way we could like pick him up and then drop him back off. And then we left literally like the next day. So it's like wash everything, get everything clean, spray the luggage, and then throw it back in the luggage and do it all over again. And then we flew out early, early, early morning, Tuesday morning, went to Universal, got to see my aunt and my uncle who's turning 88 this year, and like actually this month. I can't believe it. We've been trying to see them for a couple years now. Last year we went on a cruise out of Tampa, and they live in Bonita Springs. And we got there, and of course Hurricane Debbie delayed us. We were following the hurricane on our cruise ship, and the waters were so flooded we couldn't get to see them. So thankfully we got to see them this time. However, I should have booked the flight going into Tampa, and for some reason I wasn't thinking, and I booked it out of Orlando. And so we had a 3.5-hour drive. So we got into Orlando, drove 3.5 hours, saw them for 2 hours, and then drove 3.5 hours back so that we could get to our Universal Resort to start our luxurious go, go, go vacation the next day, going to all the Universal parks, including the newest Epic theme park. It was just insane. And this is what I'm talking about, like vacation exhaustion. Kids, like, they have so much fun. They don't know all the ins and outs that go into planning all of this. I mean, we in all of those alone, I had to create an Excel spreadsheet just so I could keep track of all the hotels, all the rental cars, all the flights, like everywhere we're going. It was insane. And I mean, it's like universal in and of itself. I mean, planning what rides you're going to go to. We had early access because we stay at the Universal Resort. And so it was like, you want to like quickly, like just race there as fast as you can. That's what we did when we went to Disney 4 years ago. We got in so many rides before the park even opened that it was just amazing. And it sounds all magical, right? Like, who's with me? Who wants to go to Universal? Who wants to do all of this? And it was, and get me, like, I loved all of the vacation, and it was so funny because I feel like we planned this out months ago, and it felt like it was never gonna get here, and now it's over, and it feels like, where did it all go? I don't even remember, and it just happened so fast. But here's the part that no one really talks about when you talk about vacations, and it's that when you're traveling with kids, the parents don't get to rest. We sacrifice our sanity so that our kids can make memories. And you hope and pray that hopefully they actually remember it. I think the most heartbreaking period for me was when we took them to Disney 4 years ago. So that means they would have been 3, 4, and 5 or 6. And we ask him now, like, "Do you remember Disney World?" "Nope, don't remember any of it." And it's like, oh my gosh, the time, the effort, the money that we spent there. I mean, same thing. You are up till 10, 11 o'clock at night, and then you wake up bright and early at like 6 o'clock in the morning so that you can race to the parks, get there by 7. Then you're like, race, 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 and you're racing from ride to ride to ride. You're standing in line, you're having to entertain. Oh my goodness, all in the hot heat, which from Texas, I'm used to it. I love it but it's like, my husband didn't get this, but you go from like the hot heat and then you're standing in line and then the lines go into these like frigid cold caves almost, and then it's like, you're wearing like tank tops, and then you're like clenching your body together so that you can produce some body heat. Your body's natural response is like the feedback system where now it wants to produce sweat so that it makes you hotter, but then it's like, okay, now my pits like stink to high heaven and I smell so raunchy. And it's like, I get to spend all day doing this. How much fun is that? I mean, we wake up before sunrise to get to the parks early so we didn't have to wait hours for a 30-second ride. We have to plan going to 3 parks in 3 days so that our kids can experience all of that. And at the same time, we have to make sure that they're entertained from the moment that they wake up until the moment that they crash and burn. And most of the times, they're up later than we are. And then let's talk about the upsells that happens at all of the theme parks that like literally it's like a gut wrench, like straight to the heart. It's like, "Oh, can you please like just take my money?" These theme parks know exactly how to play on your kids' FOMO. I mean, let's be honest. I am now the proud owner of 3 wizarding wands and 3 power up wristbands that are only magical inside the theme park. And that's a band and a wand for each child, which is over $100 for each kid. And surprisingly enough, my kids, their job was to research when we went to Universal Studios before we got there, what rides we needed to ride, what they needed to do, what activities. And surprisingly enough, they all wanted and forced me to allow them to bring their own money. So they paid for their wristbands and their wands. I mean, it was a fantastic moment when they're like, I brought my own money. And they're like, Mommy, how much money can I bring? I'm going to bring $200. I was like, holy cow, what for? And that's the moment where I thought, okay, maybe I'm doing something right here. And I can't even tell you the number of compliments on all of these trips. Now you're thinking, okay, we went 4 different places in the last 4 weeks, all over the United States, from California to Missouri to New York on the border of Canada, all the way down to Florida. I mean, all over the United States. So many different planes, trains, automobiles, everything we were on. And I lost count of how many times strangers told me how well behaved and polite my kids were. I mean, from the flight attendants to the theme park staff to people standing in line with us. And it's so funny how those small compliments mean so much. Because in the chaos of parenting and like trying to survive these days of just complete and utter chaos, they're little reminders that the hard work that we're putting in and the reason why we even went to these theme parks was because the kids are doing so well. We're teaching them manners, kindness, and respect. And it's actually working to the point where so many people are pointing that out to me. And it's like the flight attendant, the kids sat on the opposite side of our of the plane than where I was, and they ordered their Sprite, and she only had one, and the other two were like, "No problem, we'll just have ginger ale." And she was like, "Oh my goodness." And she turned to me and she said, "Are these your kids?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Wow, they are so well mannered." She said, "I was totally expecting there to be like a fight because they only had one Sprite, and they were just completely well mannered. They said their please and thank yous." I mean, it's just at that moment, it makes you feel so good, and it really makes me feel like, okay, these trips that we're taking them on mean so much to them, creating the memories, doing the experiences, but it means so much to me because like I planned it and they get to enjoy it, and then people tell me how awesome my kids are, and that just means the world. Because that's the stuff that I want my kids to remember about our trips. Not just the rides or the souvenirs, but the way that they treated people along the way. And it was like we were getting the power up bands, and the lady helping my daughter was holding one out. My daughter went to reach for it, and I told her, "No, no, no, we don't just reach for things in other people's hands." And the lady said, "No, no, no, she wasn't doing anything bad. Trust me. Like your kids are very well mannered." And I will tell you, I wouldn't say that, to very many adults. But she was like, "Your kids are so well behaved, and your daughter wasn't doing anything wrong." She thought that I was giving her the wristband, and it turned out it was her brother's and not hers. And I was like, "Okay, well, I just want to make sure, that they are behaving properly and they're treating people respectfully." It's so cute because when we go in and out of elevators, I always tell people, "Have a great day." And when I'm, like, just so super exhausted and barely can even, like, open my eyes or my mouth, we're in the elevator and, people got on and then they got off, and as they were getting off, my daughter says, "Have a great day." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." She is like a spitting image of me, and oh my gosh, it just makes me feel so good when I don't even have to prompt my kids and they just know exactly how they're supposed to behave. And so yeah, these trips, it was like the never-ending trip, but we got to do so much stuff. And I think that it's like the more that you can expose your children to, the better. And I used to do that all throughout when they were babies. Like we went to every single festival and library and all kinds of activities because I wanted them to be exposed. There's all different sorts of people and environments, and you have to be able to behave in every single one of those and be respectful and kind. And it's just amazing, to see them wherever we go, whether it's at a diving competition or a high school reunion or Universal theme park where you get to go crazy, and run up and down everywhere, although they tell you not to. But it's just so great to see that they behave the same anywhere they go. And so, yes, I was exhausted. We got to my in-laws' house, on Friday night, and Saturday they were talking about, going to a museum or aquarium, and we ate breakfast, had a couple mimosas, and I just laid down on the couch, and I literally slept like the whole entire day. And that does not happen for me. Once I'm up, I am up, and I do not rest. I do not take naps. I don't even drink caffeine. But I feel like and felt like I needed a vacation from my vacation because it was just so exhausting. I mean, our flights were at like 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. So that means we have to be there 2 hours early. We got to drop the dog off before that. We got to get our car parked, get our bags packed. I mean, I was getting probably 2, 3 hours worth of sleep, then going all day long in the car, then trying to do client work on top of that. I had client calls as well when we were in the car. It was just like, go, go, go. But you know what? I would not treat it because one day my kids will be grown and I'm going to miss these trips. I'll miss the early mornings, the late nights, the laughter, and even those stinking magic wristbands that only work at the stinking theme parks. Because you know what? Parent vacations are not restful, but they're so rich in memories. And it was like, oh, I just wanted to capture those moments, every single one of them. And the one thing that I really enjoyed about the Universal theme parks is that they had these lockers that were free. So, when you went on the rides, instead of hauling all your junk with you, you just put your stuff in the lockers. And that really means a lot because it's like, you've got your phones, you've got your money, you've got your pouches, your wands, your water bottles, like all this stuff. And to be able to put it in a locker that's free, right? Instead of having to carry it on to the ride. And actually a lot of rides didn't even want you to have stuff because they're, if the things fell out, it could be dangerous if someone was below you. But I really think the Universal theme parks, like I'm going to tell you, my favorite was, I don't know, probably a tie between the Islands of Adventure and the Epic theme park. Now, I'm not a big like simulator 3D ride lover. Okay. I like the real action rides, but also I don't know what's happened to me when I was a kid and all throughout my life until now that I have kids. I love roller coasters, like love roller coasters. But this time was so different. Every time I got on the roller coaster, I kept praying to God, asking Him to take care of us and watch over us and make sure like nothing happened. And that's never happened. I mean, I've done that like a couple of times before, but not every single ride. And all I could think about was, please don't let us die. Please don't let us die. And I know that that's like over the top, but it's just these feelings that are coming over me now that the kids are growing up and we're getting to have all these memories. I don't want anything to ruin those and spoil it. And even though they test these roller coaster rides and all of that, I mean, there were a couple that we got stuck on. Now, I'm not saying like upside down stuck, although there was a family that was next to us and they said that they did get like upside down stuck on one years ago. But it's just it really scares me, and I don't want, and I mean, nobody wants anything to happen to their family, but I don't know, it's just this feeling of just scared and nervousness being on these rides with my young children. And like, is there the security like belt thing, is that going to flop up and they're going to be hanging by the bars? I don't know. It's like all these bad feelings kept coming over and flooding my mind, and it took so hard just to push them away. And that's never really happened to me before. So those are new feelings that I'm experiencing now being a mom. going on all of these roller coaster rides. And I mean, we went on the roller coaster rides at Disney, but none of them, I mean, there was only like a couple that were as intense as the rides here at the Islands of Adventure or Epic. And oh my goodness, my kids, I felt so bad. My youngest, we went on the first one at the Islands of Adventure. It was like the Velociraptor one, and it was amazing. But as a young child, like, they don't know or maybe have the neck strength to, like, hold your head against the backrest, or, like, hold your head so that it doesn't bobble everywhere, and he got whiplash that very first ride that we did the very first day. I mean, he was in tears. And so it was like the rest of the trip, we're trying, giving him some ibuprofen and trying to massage it and trying to keep him relaxed so that he doesn't get upset or but he didn't want to miss out. He's a trooper, he still wanted to go on all the rides, even though he was terrified of some of them. But he did it, and he's only 7 years old. And I mean, some of the rides he got off, he's like, "Mommy, I was scared." I was like, "Baby, so was I." I was so scared for us. But as I mentioned, I mean, it was such a great experience. We rode every single ride on every single park that we could. And if you're going to Universal, I highly, highly suggest. We did it a really awesome way. So we did Islands of Adventure and the Universal Studios one day, like park to park pass. And we did an express pass that day. And then the next day, because you can only do one day at Epic, we did one day at Epic with the express pass. And then the third day, we did the Islands of Adventure and Universal again, but we didn't have the express pass. And by that day, we were exhausted. I mean, to the point where it was like, after we went early access, we rode like 3 rides in 30 minutes. I mean, these are like we ran to the Harry Potter ride, which usually has like a wait time of 2 hours. And we just walked on. And then we went to the Velociraptor one again. And then we did another one. And we went over to the Universal side and did the Rip Rider one that's being torn down. But that was the way to go. And so it's like, when you do the rope drop, the best one, honestly, if you go there, you have to do the Harry Potter one. Like, we made the first mistake of the first day when we did the rope drop, we raced to the Velociraptor one, but everybody else raced to the Harry Potter one. And then by the time we got back to the Harry Potter one, it was a long line. Not long because we had the express pass, but we could have done that early on and then use our express pass later. So if you're going to do that, I would highly suggest going to the Harry Potter one. And then they have this stuff called butter beer, and I had no idea what it was, but they have a frozen version and a regular version. The frozen version is so yummy. We tasted one and we all shared it, and we just downed that thing. It was so good. But yeah, so spend the majority of the time with your express passes, going to the Islands of Adventure. Then we went over to the Universal side, and there wasn't a whole lot of people on the Universal side, I'll be honest with you, because I think it's just most of those like simulators and like shows and things like that. And so in the middle of those, we went back to our hotel, which was awesome. We just took the water taxi over there, or we walked. It was easy. And then we bought lunch meat and peanut butter and jelly stuff from Walmart. We got to eat that, and then we went back to the parks. And then we stayed there until close. And then if you want to, I know it's very tough. So we have 5 people in our family, 3 kids, 2 adults. I met a mom there. They had 5 kids, 2 adults. I mean, so if if you got all the money in the world, by all means, do what you want. But if you need to save a little bit, if you just walk a half a mile down from the resorts, there's like an Applebee's and a Denny's. We walked over to the Applebee's. We spent $50, all 5 of us, plenty of food. And then we Ubered back. It was like $5 to Uber back. I gave him a $5 tip. And I mean, we would have spent that same meal, we would have spent at least $150, $200 if we would have stayed on Universal property at the City Walk, or gone to our resort restaurants. So I would definitely, if you are looking to save money, go get some groceries, put them into your room, go back in between the parks. We even did that on Epic. So we went early access to Epic, even though the early access didn't really mean much. So Epic is fantastic. However, a lot of it breaks down. And so they're on delays. Like the early access meant nothing because two of the top rides were on delays. The one that we went to, the Minecraft Racer, I don't know, it's Donkey Kong thing, mine something. It didn't even open until 10 o'clock, and early access is at 9 o'clock. And so the other people went to the Stardust Racer, and that one, it was on a 3-hour delay. So it's like, what's the point of the early access if none of the rides are going to be open? And so, anyways, so I would, of course, then you have to do like the power bands and the wands. And there's all kinds of interactive stuff that you can do, which will keep the kids busy. But it's like the parents just kind of stand around as the kids are like punching the pennies and getting the power ups and all of that kind of stuff. But they obviously have gamified the whole entire experience, and that's how they're bringing in more money, which I say the upsells, because they've created this whole gamify experience. And so, of course, the parents are going to be like, yeah, we need the bands, we need the wands, because our kids are going to be like, Mommy, I want one, I want one. And they're not going to stop until they get one. So you might as well be prepared. If you're going to go to the Universal Epic, you've got to get a power up band, which is like $45, and you got to get a wand for Harry Potter. And that's like anywhere from I think like $65 to $85. So yeah, I mean, it's it's a lot. But if you can save money by eating in your room for lunches and breakfast, we brought cereals and all kinds of snack food. So the kids ate cereal or muffins or whatnot. I had my protein shakes with me from Arbonne. Loved it. It was so good. I was able to drink my tea in the morning, drink my protein shake, and then I was totally fine until we got back for lunch. And then, we had deli sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and then we went back. And then for dinner, that's when we ate. And we ordered Papa John's pizza the next night. We spent $30 on pizza. I mean, so all in all, our 2 nights of dinners were less than $100 for 5 people. Where one meal, if we would have gone on the resorts or the city walk, would have been at least $150 to $200. So it's definitely the way to go. And then spend your money on the souvenirs, get things that the kids are going to remember, not on the food that they have no idea, or they're not going to even eat half of it. So if you've ever come home from a trip and felt more tired than before you left, just know you're not alone. We're out here building the childhood our kids will remember forever. And sometimes it's worth every early morning, late night, and overpriced souvenir. And you know what the best thing about all of our trips is? We got to see so many people. Like we saw my best friend that was in my wedding, and her daughter was my flower girl. We saw my clients. We saw my family. We saw my husband's family. We saw my aunt and uncle. We saw my childhood friends at the reunion. I mean, we saw so many people, made so many different memories in such a short period of time. So just remember that it's all about making memories, taking those photos, being able to look back and remember, wasn't that such a great time? And look at all the people we got to see and the places that we traveled. We traveled literally from east to west to north to south in the United States, covered the whole entire thing. So if this episode made you smile or made you feel seen, gave you some tips on Universal, or that you're not alone, like the hardest part is definitely the planning part and making sure that your kids have a great time. And then after that, just make sure you give yourself a day to like crash and burn so that you can refresh and get ready. Because you know what? Tomorrow we have work, and then the next day the kids start school. I cannot believe the summer is already over. But what a way to go out. Like we spent all summer working so hard doing soccer and diving and, presentations and research and doing all the things. And then the last month we got to play and have fun, mostly be exhausted, but just get the memories. And then now we get to go back to school and do it all over again. So Please share this with a friend, subscribe. Until next time, keep showing up, keep making the memories, and remember, you're doing better than you think. And even if you're so exhausted, I guarantee you, your kids had the time of their life. If you're a mom trying to start a business and don't know where to begin, I've got you. Just head over to creationsbynlw.com and book a strategy call with me. Let's map out your next steps together. Until next time, keep showing up, keep dreaming big, and remember, you're doing better than you think.